Miss Nikki in the house.
So we know what we're good at, but we know we're not good at. We spend all of our time.
My family know I've been married for 10 years. I have.
I had changed my life so much in such a short
time. So I've been doing that for 18 to 19 years.
I'm one of those people who I think, I grew up
serving the majority, as far as I can remember, as a kid.
Hey everyone! Yes, I am Chandra, and
allow themselves to be free. Sometimes I do coaching and other things like that, but
dance was my life. Dance is what I knew. Dance is what I breathed.
I lost a lot of time with my daughter in that first year.
It was an amazing job for actors.
Hey, and welcome to Commit to Change, otherwise known as the C2C podcast that gives a voice to the people who may be considered a small fry in their industry, but are doing big things in their communities. This is Miss Nikki, the Jane of all trades, but the master of living. I am committed to introducing local VIPs, vivaciously inspiring people to encourage you on your daily journey, as well as let you know what is possibly happening around in your area. So today on the show, we have an awesome, and I always say an awesome guest. She is a mother, a wife, a realtor, and most of all, which is dear to my heart, she is a hustler, baby.
Always.
Yes. She is a lover of the true power we each possess to create in our lives from the inside out. Representing Jacksonville, Florida, with over 15 years as a realtor, and as she said to me, an alignment coach, we bring to you no other than Rebecca Hamilton. Woo! So, Miss Rebecca, welcome to the C2C podcast.
No, thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here and be able to talk to you.
Yes. So please share a little bit about yourself to our audience. Let them get to know you a little more.
Okay, so my I'm just going to kind of take it way back. When I was 19, I was sitting in a parking lot and I was listening to cassette tapes. It was the first set of cassette tapes that I had ever gotten from that was completely about law of attraction. And this was before The Secret and before all of the different things that are out now. This was like back in the day, because when I was 19, I'm more than 19 more years old. So it was a long time ago. And when I sat there and listened to that, I really felt like something sparked in me. And I was like, if this can work, it has to work. Like if there is any validity to it, I have to figure out what it is. So that was the beginning of the journey. When, I still was kind of flailing around, didn't really know what I was doing. And when I found out I was pregnant, it was both probably one of the scariest moments, because I went, I'm going to totally and completely ruin a child. Like I have no anything going on. Like we just weren't in a space that was like an amazing decision. And, but having him truly, truly changed my life. I took every single concept that I had been thinking about. It's like those seeds are planted, but you never really go with them. Mm-hmm. I took all of those and started implementing. And so to fast forward, when my son was 1, my husband ended up going to prison. And we're still together now. He's still my husband. We are literally finally in a place where we have information that's going to actually give us some traction here. So we're still working on that. But in the meantime, I knew that I had to raise our son. Like I had a job to do, and one that I was super duper excited about. I felt like it was such an honor to be able to do that. And that's probably why I took it so seriously. And so when my son was about 5, I decided to I always wanted to homeschool him. Like that was the goal before I ever knew I was going to have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to unschool, homeschool, raise a free human that could like just be different. And so that was my goal. And so when he was 5, I was like, you know what? I'm getting in real estate and I'm going to take this severance and I'm going to get in real estate and I'm going to, figure this out. And so after I had written $1 million in sales, which is not a lot, I didn't know that then it felt a lot. Now it does not. But I said, I'm going to take him out. And I did. And for the next, for the last 15 years, I homeschooled him and supported us on a commission only job. I didn't have a backup job while kind of trying to get my husband out. So then it became, when he went off to college, I applied the processes that I had used to be able to be home with him. I started applying them to my real estate business, and I, quickly got to 6 figures. I did a video that ended up going viral. Like for my standards, I got almost 40,000 views, which was huge, being I did not pay $1 to do it.
Yes, that is huge.
Like I just had like all these, I just started putting the work in on my business side. And I was before, just in a different way. I always say like I was having 6-figure years when I was home with our son, but it was just it was like literally 6-figure years. And like things just started going crazy. And I'm just like, you know what? I know that this is what I came here to talk to people about, is their personal power. So I started an online course. First round it sold out because people wanted it. People want to hear. People want to know, how can they be free? Like we have a ton of people who are out here being entrepreneurs, but not a lot of people who are clear. So that's kind of, so that's what kind of drove me to be a coach and do all of those things.
That is super exciting. What resilience and patience you have. Wow. You're actually the second person that I've interviewed that had a similar situation.
Really?
Except minus the child. But the other part of waiting for the significant other. And I mean, I'm in awe of women like you. I'm in awe. So let's continue on. Let's talk about how you decided to bring, how you turned like your LOA, which is your
Law of attraction.
Law of attraction, yes. Which is even how like I started years ago for the same like you, for entrepreneurship. I think a lot of people got on, well, I was on The Secret. So I know you said it was before The Secret.
Well, yeah, but The Secret made it mainstream, and it did help a lot of people. Like but like when you look at the real pioneers, they were not in that book.
Right.
Or that movie. So it's like, all right, whatever.
Right. Well, but I feel you on that one, because that was like the catapult for me to get into like that whole like, oh, there's more to life, really, and I can manifest things. And it was also kind of like that. It gave me the realization or the epiphany of the power that I tapped into, but didn't understand what it was.
Right.
So
well, right. Because we're all creating all day, every day.
Right.
Like, there is no, right. So it's like, you might be creating the same thing all day, every day. But I think what The Secret really focused on that kind of threw me off was that it became all about physical manifestation versus what people really want, which is the feeling. They want to feel better. They want to feel connected. You know what I'm saying? And it's like The Secret, I got lost in, visualize the Lambo and get the Lambo kind of feeling. And it's like, that's not like, that's great. And those are side effects. But I think that's where so many people have the problem, is they're like, wait, I've been talking about this Lamborghini for 2 years. I still don't have it. It's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like there's so much other work to do that's so much more meaningful than any money out here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So like, besides when you listen to the cassette tapes, and you can tell me about if it happened in several times of your life, because it is possible, but I just want you to tell us like a little bit about what inspired you. I know you said it was the tapes that inspired you, but like, what is the inspiration that kept you going? Because you talked about different parts of your life that said, okay, I'm going to do this because I have this idea. Well, you were kind of catapulted into it because you had a son, then you were by yourself and you're like, I have to make this happen. So you had that first step and then you had to take the next step. I want to make sure my child is, set up properly by, homeschooling and that aspect. And then you went to the next step. So give us kind of like throughout all, and even like right now, because, you're at a different point in your life. And your motivation and inspiration is different from like how it initially started. So please tell us like, what is inspiring you for your commitment to change, now, or to get to where you are now?
I think like overall, I've always had this feeling that I can like do whatever I want to do. And people go, yeah, of course you can. But it's like, I can remember back when I was, 16, I was a bad child. And to make a very long story short, my parents sent me up to Ohio to live with my dad. And I ended up getting back to Florida on $40, basically across the country at that age. And when I did that, and I thought like, okay, if I could do that, I could really do anything. So, when I'm pregnant and I'm going to have this son, and which by the way, we're also an interracial family. So we have that aspect too to deal with in the South, which is that aspect too to deal with. So it's like, then it was like, well, I can do this because I can do anything. And then it was like, okay, so my son he wanted to play football. Ninth grade, he picked up a football. He said, I want to play football. I want to get a D1 full ride scholarship. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So, I ended up I raised all the money, and for like his little school, like we ended up, being like, I was doing the pregame meal. I was not to get him a scholarship, because just note to self, anybody who thinks you can buy your way to a scholarship just does not happen. But unless you got a whole lot of money, but it wasn't for that, because I would want him to earn it on his own. But, but bringing that together, everybody was like, there's no way. All these people have tried to do this booster thing for this school. They won't let you do pregame meal. They won't let you do all these things. And I'm like, no, we're doing it. Like, it's the right thing for those kids to be able to eat. Some of those kids didn't get to eat before the game. Like, how wrong is that?
Right.
So I was like, no, I sat in my kitchen many days cooking meals for the entire football team. And all of it was still under that, I can do it. Like, I can do whatever I want. I know I can. And it was the same thing so my son did get a full ride D1 scholarship to football.
Yay.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing, accomplishment for him, while being the honor student on the team. I'm just saying. But
that's fantastic. Good job, Mom.
but I was so much more concerned with him being a good human being. Like, it was so high on my list. But anyway, then when he went to school, it was like, all right, well, everybody's like, you're going to crumble. You and him are all you guys have. You're going to be devastated. You're going to this. And I'm like, no, I can totally do this. So then it was like, okay, now let me figure out. So it's like, it's that whole idea that we, like, honestly, really, it is the whole idea that we can be or do or have whatever we want. And that one thought hit me so hard that I was like, it just is like, that's what I'm living to do. It's like, yes, we can. I can raise a son that has every single reason that a statistic would say he should be dead or in jail. I can raise him to be an amazing human being. And I don't have to have, like, yeah, it's great if you have both parents in the house, but I can do it by myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that whole feel. So, having my son was huge. That was probably the biggest turning point in my life, period. Like, that was a turning point when, I went from no direction really to like an amazing direction of, taking those steps. Like we said, evolution. I was taking those steps.
Wow. So now, what do you think was your biggest obstacle since you actually made that decision to shift in your life, and how did you overcome it?
I think my biggest obstacle was getting over what society thinks. And, with my son with my husband. You know, I had already he was my first love. He and I have been together since I was 17. We're going on like 30 years. So, you know, he was my first love. We dealt with society stuff back then. Then when I had my son, I dealt with it again. Then when I decided to stay with the guy that was in prison, I dealt with it again. And so it was like getting over that. And I'm so grateful for it. You know, one of the things that I love about law of attraction is the accountability piece of it, because I want to take accountability for my life. I want to say, yeah, he's there. Well, you know what? Somehow our energy got us here. Like, we've got to figure out how to get past it. I don't want to ever pass the buck. So, but yeah, I mean, I think getting over what society thinks has been by far my biggest obstacle and my biggest accomplishment, because it's huge. We just don't even realize how much it just seeps into every part of you until you have to look at adversity.
Absolutely. And who would you say like was your biggest supporter through all of this?
Well, outside my son and my husband are obviously my two biggest supporters, but my mother has been a real support, especially since, you know, yeah, she's been definitely my biggest supporter through all of it. So it's been, you know, it's been good to have somebody who, you know, but honestly, there's just not, when you're making decisions that go completely against, I mean, I don't know many parents who want their daughter to be with somebody, you know what I'm saying, to be in those circumstances. So keeping that in mind, I mean, it took a little bit, but I feel like I was so sure. One thing that happens a lot with me, I feel like, is that I'm so sure, and I get so sure about my decisions that I almost make people agree with me, or like make the people around me. It's like, I'm so sure that I'm doing the right thing that you really don't have to be worried around me. It's like, oh, she's got it.
Wow. So go mom, go son, and go hubby.
Yeah. My husband is complete. Him and my son are just like, they are the best.
That's I say it awesome a lot, so you're gonna have to use that.
That's all good. I like awesome.
That is absolutely awesome. So now, how do you feel like you are adding value to the community?
Well, I am a huge proponent of giving time, energy, whatever. So, you know, obviously when my son was growing up, I did it in ways with him and with school and the things that I could do. Like, so I unschooled him, then homeschooled him until 11th grade. And then he went to school. But, you know, giving, like, I do free webinars constantly. I'm definitely always available. I take random calls from people that want to know about, hey, what about this? What about that? How do I, you know, get past this thing? Somebody will see me. And the other thing that I think that I do that I think is important, well, another thing is I just started my YouTube channel. And one of the things that I want to do on there is about prison, because the information that we have that has helped us. So over the years we didn't have a good attorney when my husband was, when he got arrested, right? We were 25, and we didn't have the money. We knew like it was not legit, but it's like, what are you going to do? So, but it took us all this time to come up with things. Throughout time, I was paying lawyers and the lawyers didn't care. So my whole idea is, with my YouTube channel, I have a whole playlist like that is just dedicated to, like, you know, our journey, him coming home, because we finally got the thing that I've been looking for forever, that attorneys are like, oh, that stuff was destroyed. Oh, that we can't go and look for that because we don't have money to get to the warehouse. Oh, you know, whatever. I've been asking for this information for 18 years. We're going on 19 years this year. I've been waiting, you know, asking for that information. And I finally got it. And it's huge. And it's like, I want people to know, because the problem is I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I want to be able to give that information. I can't give legal advice, obviously, but I want to show people my journey. And I think one of the things we can all do for each other is show each other our journey, our vulnerability, our not perfectness. And that's something that I am freely giving, like just wanting to connect, wanting to show people. And I have so many people message me, and it was a huge risk as a realtor to put up on my Facebook page. Yeah, I just got back from seeing my husband, and I'm in this picture with he and I, and he's in stripes, and people instantly are like, oh, what did he do? And, ask. But then again, on the other side, I have had so many people reach out and say, thank you. Like, you gave me the inspiration to own something in my life or whatever. And it's like, us doing that for each other is huge.
Yeah, to be an advocate, I think that's something that not enough people talk about. So I really think that would be just giving out a golden nugget to a lot of people who need to hear that information. So I definitely want to update on how that goes for you, and would love to.
Oh yeah, it's going down. We have the ear of somebody amazing right now, and we have the papers to prove it. So it's like, it's so crazy. And I got on my Facebook and broke down the other day. I was on live, so I'm like, well, I might as well stay here. But it's like, it's just crazy because you think that you're crazy, and you're like, okay, well, I guess they can just do this, or I guess this can just happen. And like I said, you don't know what you don't know. So I love the idea of sharing that. So one of my playlists on there is the journey home. And that's like all the stuff that has to do with the law side of it, he and I, the whole idea of waiting. Why do you do that? Why would I? All of that stuff, like all of that is in that piece.
Wow. Okay, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more about that and watching the series actually. So I will our network will stay on board with you, and you can be a part of our network as well, because I have it where several people. It's like a family. It's not just about what I'm doing in business. It's a network of businesses and people to, extend, our audience. And I think that's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to definitely keep abreast of your story of what's happening. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So in 5 years, I will be definitely, well, my husband will be here. And personally, I'm working on a book now. I think that I'll be speaking, and I think that I'll be involved in, just having some higher level conversations about, prison and the whole way that we just deal with that in our society, not in a poor us or anything like that. Like, we don't feel like that at all, but just in a very empowering way. So I would think, being on some sort of something to do with that, and then speaking, writing, and I'll still be doing online courses, I'm sure. Because I just want to disseminate the information. My goal is to have, I want my YouTube channel, I want to be able to just give as much information as I can, whatever will help people can grab so that's 5 years from now. I think all of that will be going pretty smoothly.
Okay. So I know you mentioned about your online course. So I know you do a course every 6 weeks. Can you tell our audience just a little bit more about the course or the courses that you offer?
So right now, the course that I offer is actually for realtors. So it's called Align for Realtors. That course actually was not written specifically for realtors, but the information, I kind of molded it so that I could get specific for realtors. So I've had an amazing response to that course. And then I'm working on another course, which is going to be an uncage your heart type of course. So it's going to be just to give you a really small snippet of where that uncaged came from. When I came into my body, I had rashes head to toe. And so I went through that until puberty. So, and I had late puberty. So I didn't have puberty till I was 15. So that was my own prison, right? I was in my own cage, but it was a physical cage. And then after that, I think the reason that I had that hard time kind of finding myself was because I'm still trying to process from that place. Then I'm in a mental cage, right? So then I can't, but then I have my son, and it's like, okay, everything just started, but then now here's my husband who's in a cage. And it's like this whole idea of being able to love yourself and love the way you want to love and be who you want to be outside of like all of the societal BS and all of that. So, and how to get rid of those limiting beliefs and those stories and those things like that are holding you back.
Right.
So the Uncage Your Heart, that is a signature course that I'm working on now. It's not actually out yet, but I have a ton of stuff out there. Like you could just get value just for free too.
That's right. So what tips or advice would you give to someone who is sitting on the fence of their field of dreams?
So first of all, I would say clarity is money. Like get clear. There is not much that is better or that is going to get you there quicker than clarity. The other thing that I always tell myself, because first of all, you have to have faith, right? You have to some sort. It doesn't have to be religious. It could be whatever. You have to have faith. You have to have the ability to believe it before you see it, right? You have to have that. And I always tell myself when I'm walking, like, you know, as I'm walking down, by the way, my husband has a sentence that does not have an out date. So meaning he's got natural life. So we can't, like, fear is a luxury that I cannot afford. And you can't either. You can't afford the luxury of fear. So that is something that, I don't know. I think that anytime that I start getting like feeling it, you can feel it in the pit of your stomach. You can kind of, you know, start feeling how you feel and remind yourself fear is not a luxury you can afford. You've got to keep moving.
I like that. I like that. Fear is a luxury that you cannot afford. I like that. All right. Are you ready? It is time for the lightning round. 5 questions. Answer them off the top of your head. Short and sweet. Here we go. What initially held you back from making your commitment to change?
Oh, I just hadn't found myself. I had no idea how to do it. I really needed something big to really go off to wake me up. So it was just a lack of even knowing myself.
Okay. And what was the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received is that the relationship between me and me is the most important relationship there is.
Say it. Say it with your chest. Okay. Share a personal habit that contributes to your success.
So a personal habit, and the one thing, and I give this out in my course, I give it out for free in a bunch of places, is using what I call the energetic hustle. That's what I like, my name for my little, it's a morning routine that I go through, and it's really a written thing, and it's a mental, written, emotional thing that I go through every morning, setting my intentions and all of that, and that has 1000% leveled up my energy.
All right. Now, what book would you recommend to the C2C audience and why?
So the book that I'm currently in love with is Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I've like read all his stuff. I love all of his stuff. And the thing that I think is amazing about his stuff, even though he doesn't say, he does probably talk about law of attraction in there. I mean, he's obviously a big proponent of it. And if you don't know his story, checking it out is amazing. But I love that he connects a lot of dots in his book. So he like told me like, oh, that's why when I started reading his books years ago, oh, that's why I'm like creating and doing the things that I'm doing. I didn't realize why. I just knew I was doing it. So he's an amazing person.
Okay.
He's actually got a new documentary or a new movie on Netflix. It just came out called Heal, and amazing. Like it will make you rethink how you're moving throughout your days.
I hope they have that over here. Let me see.
And Netflix, baby, get on.
Yeah, I know sometimes things that are shown in the US are not shown here.
What?
Yeah.
It's so wrong.
So hopefully it's on there because I love some documentaries. My kids always run when I get on Netflix to watch documentaries.
Very cool. It is very cool.
Okay, so if you found out that you had 1 hour left to live and you were given the opportunity to share one final message, what would it be?
My final message would be stop lying to yourself and telling yourself things that are not, like, just stop lying to yourself. Look for, people just don't realize that, you think you want to, this person to be happy and that person to be happy. And it's like, stop people pleasing, stop lying to yourself about the stories that you're telling yourself, and start to take time to feel how you feel. Like, start getting into who you are, like who you are in this world, not who you are. Like, that would be it. It wasn't a very good message. It was a pretty crappy message. So I'm probably
I get it. That was fantastic. No, it's okay.
I'm gonna have to write that out for whenever I'm in that last hour, so I do better.
They're gonna love the authenticity of it, so it's okay.
Okay, well, good. Yeah, it's not scripted, y'all.
Yeah, there you go. So, Ms. Hamilton, please tell us, where can the audience find you? You said YouTube. Give us how we can find you. And I'm also going to make sure I put the links under the video and on the podcast link. So please tell us verbally where we can find you, see what you're doing and all your freebies that you're offering and your courses. Let us know.
Right. So because I'm just like kind of pulling everything together, I'm in a billion different places, but my website is not up yet. So on YouTube, I'm just there under Rebecca Hamilton. Like that's how you can find me. It's Uncage Your Heart. No, it's Uncaged with Rebecca. I'm sorry. See, I just went through a whole new branding. Now for the Align stuff, you can go to alignforrealtors.com/align. But that's specifically to realtors. So I feel like that wasn't as great of a thing to share. So I
might have realtors listening. Hello?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like if you have realtors listening, for sure. So those are on Crowdcast. I'm there, Uncaged with Rebecca. All of my free webinars are there. If you go look for Rebecca Hamilton, you can email me at uncageyourheart@gmail.com. I'm all sorts of places. I just am not cohesive yet. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress as usual.
That's okay. It's about the journey, right?
So yeah, but if anybody does email me, I'm happy to send them my energetic hustle and the video that goes with it. I'm happy to share the information.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So we'll share your email so that way they can get that information from you. And like every time you say in country, isn't there a song, Uncage My Heart? I feel like a jingle kind of my mind. Is there a song that I'm thinking about that? If I find it, I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah, you send it to me. I feel like might be my theme song. I don't know.
Yes. That's what I was like, because I keep hearing it. Uncage my heart. Uncage my heart. Like, I don't know. So it might be like some totally different lyrics, and I just put it in there for you, but it worked. So
I don't know, girl. There may be one out there. You know what I decided? And this is just a side note. My whole life, I was always looking like, is somebody else doing this? Is somebody else doing that? Does somebody else have this name? And my mantra since I really started rolling out as an entrepreneur is I don't care.
Exactly.
I don't care. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of doctors. There's a lot of, there's more than one of a lot of things. So, I mean, it's impossible not to repeat something. So it's okay. That's cool. And you're bringing a different twist to it, and it's bringing the Rebecca twist and flavor to it. So it's going to be different anyway. So
Oh.
Yep. All right. So that is a wrap. I do want to thank you again, Ms. Hamilton, for being a VIP guest on the C2C podcast. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. We hope you feel inspired to keep moving forward towards your goals and stick with or make a commitment to change your life. Please make sure to check out the links provided by our guests and share today's podcast and information with anyone you feel may benefit from it. And remember, in order to get to the top of the steps, you have to take the first step. Just don't step on anyone on the way, because you just might trip. This is Miss Nikki. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.